Well, hello everyone. Yeah, we're going to just be having a look at lighting in this month's monthly game dev challenge. Last month was UI. We kind of did 2 game jams last month, so it meant that it was harder for us to, well, the start of this month and last month, which meant it was quite difficult to get as many sessions as we would have liked in it. But regardless, we still did a 3 little chunks. I'd like to maybe see if I can get another one in at some point on UI, and the last thing we finished with was the card. If you remember, we made a card, and yeah, learned about getting these widget components on world objects. And we started playing a little bit with lighting then, actually, to try and make this scene, and realize how I find it quite confusing. So we're going to just go and make a new project. As always, we want to try and work with not much of a prerequisite. Now, we generally just want an empty project. I don't think we need any characters and that going around. We're just going to be setting up a scene. Excuse me, sorry. Spacey, have you checked your head? So I think really for that reason we can go with blank, but we will probably put in starter content. Yeah, we do want the starter content. We will make, I don't know, does it need to be CPP? I don't think we need to be CPP in this. Thank you. Sorry for the lack of warning as well. Let me just change where we're writing to. Hey Java. So we're in Dev, we're in Unreal, and we're in our monthly game dev challenge 6. So we're going to here, we're just going to call this lighting. Or a fun project name, lighting project. So let's go ahead and create. And then we essentially want to just add in a few things so we can then try and add in light and figure out what's going on. I think the first step for me is to, we have a scene by default, right? I'd like to recreate this scene because this comes with a bunch of free stuff, right? We have a skylight and a light source. They're the defaults. It'd be interesting to play around with those a bit. The one thing I want to turn off immediately is this bloom. Is it exposure? Auto. I think it's not editor's project settings, my bad. I always go into the wrong ones. Auto exposure off. That's the thing that makes the lights change based. It's like when you're using a webcam or your phone camera and the brightness of the scene adjusts based on the entire light kind of input. So if you move it in and out quite quickly, then it's gonna have to adjust, and you don't have the static lighting, which for me personally I find a bit rubbish. So you can see now that regardless of where we are, that table is looking the same, and that's really what I think is important anyway. But how it looks when you're playing, that bloom effect is cool because it's kind of more like eyes, I guess. But flashlight simulator, yeah, that works. I mean, we could try and make a horror. Lighting is important in horror games, right? You can see, right, so we got a little bit of reflection in here. I think the fact that we've got these materials is a good thing. There's a post-process in here. Oh, hello, Brainoid.
Hi.
How is your beautiful self?
Fine.
How's Mario?
He break a glass in the morning.
Uh-oh.
He's fine. It's my fault. I left 2 chicken bones in it.
Oh, right next to the glass?
No, in it.
Oh! Okay, that definitely is your fault. It's like, here, Mario. Why don't you have this irresistible thing in this very delicate object?
Yep.
Poor little boy.
He wants them loot.
Yeah, he does want the loot. I don't blame him. Okay, so we're just in the starting scene. I think what I was hoping to do was to just take across just this starting stuff, just the chairs, and then we can build up our scene outside of that. Because this comes with a lot for free, and I think that's one of the things I found as a user in Unreal is You kind of get this stuff for free, so you don't have to use it. But then when it comes to setting it up, I then feel like I don't know what each one does. I mean, that's not quite true. I do feel like I have an idea of what each one does. But every time I come back to it, there's a little bit of uncertainty, which I want to address. Go ahead,
I watched a tutorial working on the basics in the morning.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah, we can try to follow something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, he was doing something similar, removing all the default lights that they added in that default scene.
Yeah.
But keep the objects.
Oh yeah, good. Okay. Well, yeah, I saw one. What's the name of the guy who I watched earlier? Ryan Manning. I watched one by, but he didn't do that. He was doing something quite. But
okay.
It still just was a bit of a refresher, just in case we happen to see similar ones. Okay, lighting. I made a topic on this and then didn't write much about it. Worst thing is I've done an hour course on Udemy or whatever plural site about this stuff, but I didn't write any notes and it's just all faded a bit. So that's why I want to try and make notes as I go. I know it's a little bit more boring from a content point of view, but I think really the point of these is to learn. So I'd like to learn. That's okay with everyone, huh? Fine. Okay, so I know some things we want to look at. We're going to have a skylight we're going to talk about. No, I think the main one is probably the directional light. Like you start with, that's to my understanding. We'll go over what I know, but then how to make them do what I want them to do is a different question. Direction. Oh, light.
One direction light.
Ah, beautiful. I don't know if they're still making music these days. Okay, this is like a sun. A large volume of light. Volume, maybe not the right word. Traveling at a certain direction. Has no point of origin as such. Meaning where you place it, there's no doesn't impact things. However, the rotation does. Okay. Up to date. Okay, so then there's something called a skylight, and to my understanding, this is your indirect lighting, which will get. I think it gets lighting information from. I don't really know what cube maps are, but I think from cube maps.
Let's say skybox.
Ah, is that what I'm?
So in Unreal, skybox is defined by atmospheric fog and also the sky sphere.
Right, hold on. So hang on. Will you say that sentence again?
So what we're saying here, we are saying either cube maps or skyboxes. Right. So it's defined by the atmospheric fog and the sky sphere.
Okay, so
if you add an atmospheric fog in a scene, it will get the lighting color values from that fog because it's atmospheric fog is surrounding the scene. Okay. Like it's mapped around the sky.
Right. Okay. So atmospheric fog not being like in the fog in the level, then.
Yes.
It's been like on the horizon sort of fog, right?
Yeah.
And then you're saying the sky sphere. What's the sky sphere then in that regard? Is this like what it
clouds and stars and everything.
So the old like skybox, effectively, right?
Yeah, the BP sky sphere blueprint they
use. So like the stars, clouds, etc. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So we'll go into these in more details in a moment. Let's go to the
sun.
Oh yeah, not in our world. The sun never rises. So the next thing I'm aware of, there's two, and the names of them really upset me a bit because you have a point light, and for me, point means you're pointing in a direction, but it doesn't mean that. It means a light omnidirectional. Does that mean all directional, or does omni mean one directional?
That also confuses me.
Light that emits in every direction.
Yeah, it's similar, more similar to an area light.
Point in space. Yeah, it's as if it's a bulb there, right? But with no direction. So it's just it's a source of light with no directional information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It has a radius rather than an angle.
Sphere of influence. That's a wrong name, but it sounded fancy, so I've put it down. Okay, and then we have spotlight then, which is what I think of when I think of point light, which is a directional cone of light. You can control the angle of the cone, the direction, and the light fall off to impact the distance this travels. Okay. And then after that, there's a few other things that you can put in. So there's like a reflector something, which I'm not 100% how that works. So I need to remind myself. So for now, I'm just going to put question marks. And then there's you can have a few. What do I want to say here? There's also the concept of you connect the. There's a way where you can connect like the position of the sun based on some rotation, and it changes it. I don't know if that's all tied into that skylight system. So like you get different color in the sky based on it with the position of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what that where that kind of comes under. That's roughly what we know already. So we're going to have a look in our scene, like we said, and we will.
By reflector, you mean reflection capture?
Yes.
Actors, okay. Yes, so those are actually capturing what's around them and creating a cube map, like six-sided map, or there are different kinds of cube maps. I don't know how they work in Unreal though.
Okay. But what's that then used for?
Yeah, so you can use that for example, if you want to create a fake reflection on a surface, you use that texture in that reflection capture. So where you're looking at the object changes according to that texture you captured.
So is it making a texture or are you giving it a texture? Sorry.
No, it is generating a texture, looking at the objects around it. That's how it works in Unity. I'm sure it's the same here. Yeah,
Okay.
I read it already.
Something like that. Okay. Let me save as then. We'll make this as a new map. Save current level as. Maps or levels. The same discussion every week. Lighting playground. What? Right.
I think we have a few more objects we need to learn about. We didn't. Oh, the auto exposure still works?
That's what I'm thinking now.
Yeah.
No. What?
Maybe it's enabled in the lighting settings. I don't know what they're called. Yeah, the lit, where you select lit and.
Oh, and here you mean?
Do you have any upgrade?
No idea.
I don't know.
Unlit looks really nice though. This reminds me of making games in the past. It's funny how much of a difference lighting has, right? and how that massively must have impacted like older games.
By the way, it's logical to stay in unlit because we're gonna remove all the lights now.
Yeah.
And then once we add our directional light, then we go back to lit.
Great. Okay, let's get rid of these then. Reflection capture, get rid of that. Atmospheric fog and sky sphere, let's get rid of that. Static meshes, we keep all these. And volumes, global post-processing.
Oh, post-processing.
It could be this that has the...
That's adding the auto exposure probably. In it, we have a...
It could be somewhere in there. But yeah, let's get rid of it for now. Sphere reflection capture, get rid of that. Okay, I think we're just in a normal world. So if we press play now, we are in pitch black. Excellent. I'm just going to also look up that.
By the way, do you know what game that last guy I sent you?
Oh yeah.
Do you know the game game he made?
No, I saw that you worked in Blizzard.
Okay, I mean for Ludum Dare. I mean.
Oh, sorry. No, I did not.
Okay. It's a game for not for, but you can play it without eyes.
Oh, interesting. I mean, that is interesting for once. I know I say interesting for everything, but where is the stupid?
It's weird.
Every time I can't find
it. Before us, he played. No, I'm not working for Blizzard. No, I'm sorry.
Hello, Nal.
So he played Outfrost's game before our game. And he found the stacking dead bodies innovative. What?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess he's not experienced the other games like that. Yeah, like innovation really comes from experience, I guess, right? Brain Note is a little quiet, you said. I can boost up his volume. Okay. I boosted you up anyway. Otherwise we'll be like taka taka taka.
No, I'm not using my keyboard.
Magic. Okay, right. So we have our scene. Let's start through adding a... there's going to be other types we add to that list. You were completely correct in saying that. But at the moment, I don't know them enough. So we'll figure it out as we go. So
yeah, you can... Okay, I know a few, but okay.
Say that again.
I know a few names.
But... Okay, go on. You can say them if you want. And I'll try and...
Exponential height fog.
Yes, this is how you can make a scene look really great or really quick. I was taught by Auroral Games. She'd made a scene, a jungle, and then she put that on, and she's just like, "Oh, that changes everything."
Yes,
it makes them.
I agree.
Yeah,
and the atmospheric fog as well.
How are you doing, Nalaj? You're welcome to give a little summary from if you want, but otherwise we can just wait until we get there.
Wait, you know atmospheric fog? We talked about it.
Oh, the fog on the horizon sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also impacts like how far you can see a bit, I guess, right?
I'm not sure.
Or not?
Yeah, probably.
Well, it changes like the haziness of the light color as well.
Yes, the haziness, definitely.
Haziness of the directional light, I guess, or all lights probably. And it also, as a result, it kind of saps out the color quite a bit. And then the exponential height fog.
It's the volumetric fog actually, but yeah, you can do the volumetric fog thing, but it's more than that.
So you're saying it's like volumetric? Sorry, just to understand what you're saying.
It includes the volumetric fog, but it also has other functions.
So, and what does that? That just makes it seem a little bit naturally foggy around you, is it?
Yeah, you can actually go into fog and walk in it.
Yeah. So fog nearby. It makes guard rays and stuff work really well as well, I've heard.
Yes.
So complements shards of light. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Right, so the first thing I'm going to look for then, we're going to look for the sun. So I'm going to just go through a little step by step of what we're going to add in, just so I can remember as well. So setting up lights in a dark, lonely level. Have I spelled light with a capital L sometimes? Oh, I have. Thank you. That's very inconsistent of me, eh? You keep crying in chat. That is a very valid reason to be upset.
Didn't upset me.
No, Tesla crying, very upset about it. So step 1 is going to be adding a directional light. Okay, so let's do that to begin with. So we just type in directional light.
Your son. My God, is the sun.
Now, the location of this isn't important. So I personally, I don't know about you, Brain, I like to move them away from the center. Because you always just get these things in the way. Now, fortunately, we got these nice folders that I'm going to make the use of here.
Also, when it's higher up, you get a better understanding of how when you rotate it, how it will look.
Okay. Let me just chuck this, say some 200 in the, no, a bit more than that, 1000 in the air. And we'll keep it at 0, 0. Okay, so
put
now
the lights in the air, put the lights in the air.
Okay. So we have our directional light, and this is where we have a bunch of settings. So now let's first off, should we turn on the lights?
Yes. Turn on the lights.
Okay, so there's a lot. It's a lot of light right now. It looks like it's glowing, but that's also the nature of the surface as well. I'm going to just chuck in maybe one more of these and strip out the material.
10 lux is too much, by the way.
I didn't say it. Blame me. Don't blame me.
You expect it to be a good value by default, right?
Yeah, but it's super strong. That'd be too easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so what about this duplicating?
I hate how it steps up. Stop it. It bothers me greatly. Okay, I think I've lined it up. And we want to get rid of this. Hang on. I wonder, we might actually just get... What flip did I choose there? Just wondering if there's some other less reflective ones to play with, like a more matted one. And if they do, this is why the rock might do the trick a little bit.
Create a new one.
What, a new material?
Okay.
Oh, that works. That's not very reflective.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it also has some like normals, which will be helpful. That's why I was keen to use one that exists already.
Good.
Okay, so we have a wonderful scene here. I'd love if these existed somewhere. They're bound to, right? Someone's got to have made this table and chairs somewhere. Everyone who's worked in Unreal will just recognize it. And yeah, let's look at the settings we've got on this light then. So the first thing is the lux, and that is basically the strength of it, right? So let's see what happens when we change this. Let's put it down to 1. Okay, cool. So it's quite strong, this. You don't generally, I can't imagine you'd ever want to go past 10 in this environment. Because keep in mind, it doesn't matter how far away I put this. If I put this at 10,000, it's still exactly the same brightness, right? So that's why we're saying like the lux. It's not like how far it shines or how strong. The strength doesn't impact the distance. I think so. Are they really knowledge? I guess they're probably free assets to use. Okay, so after that we have color. I've been told about this, maybe not to play with the color too much, but I'm not too sure what you think about that, Brain.
Yeah, usually. Yeah, it depends on style you're going for.
Yeah, like if you wanted to, this is more like a end of the day light shining in sort of light, right? And then you could have like colder lights, which would be more indoors. more artificial light. So you can do that. I don't know if there's better ways to achieve it, but yeah,
True.
That's fine. So I haven't changed that for now. Then we've got a source angle. So at the moment, we're noticing if we look at the shadows of this, I mean, we can also probably rebuild our light.
I'm not sure about the source angle. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
we'll have a play with it now because the lighting's just building just to get rid of some of these things, and we get better shadows then. Okay, so you can tell that the light is kind of up in that direction. Again, I want to highlight that if we look here and I move this, it doesn't change where the shadow is. So it's just that one of the first things I did is you try and move it around. It doesn't work like that, right? So as a result, then if we do this source angle, does that change anything? No.
Yeah, that's why. Does
No.
it have an
Oh, hang
explanation?
on. The angle for our sun. Angle subtended by light source in degrees, also known as angular diameter. I think this is just the way that it might just be a scientific light fact thing.
Okay.
That we probably don't need to mess with. But I'm going to also take our lux down just to maybe 3. Get it a bit less bright in here. Okay, so if we're not going to change that, and the same with the source angle here. Angles subtended by soft light. Okay, so these are tied. I don't think we're going to play with those. Temperature, it allows you to change the temperature on the Kelvin scale, I'd imagine this is. Yeah. So this is a different way to change the light, which is more photographer friendly. This is, to be honest, it gets you in the 2 directions. Instead of changing the color, this is more likely to use this because these are the different types. This is Mars, right? Where this is Aperture Science Labs. So it's like, yeah, I think that's quite a nice way of changing it rather than messing around with those, unless you're looking for artificial light or really different vibe for it. Affects the world. That's a good way. I think this is useful in, I think it might be off in one of the, I can't remember, but this is your way, if you want to turn them off, do that rather than trying to disable things. This tick box is what I've learned here. There's a rave.
Directional lights, maybe.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if you wanted to, transition and then wake up and it's like morning, then you can affect world to turn them off, I guess. Cast shadows is another thing. So you can, I think that's self-explanatory what that does.
The basics.
So yeah, it's important here with these as well. So with all the lights, we're going to have this static, stationary, or movable. I'd imagine since it's default, it's a stationary, we want it to be stationary. And to my understanding, static means all the lighting generated from it will be baked in and not generated at runtime. Stationary is, or let's go movable. Movable means it's not, none of it is baked in and it's all dynamic, calculated shadows at runtime. And then stationary somehow bakes in some of it, I think, but can still be moved or can still create dynamic shadows. Sorry, maybe not moved itself.
That's what we want, I guess.
Yeah, because the sun, it's the point of the sun here isn't going to move. Even though it feels like, the sun will move in the sky, we're just going to be changing the angle if we wanted to emulate something like that, right? So that's not moving the light. It's just changing the angle on it. So I'm guessing stationary should be fine here. And we definitely wouldn't want it static because then I'd imagine if you move around it wouldn't make any shadows. So, but things like this, based on the objects, if these are static as well, then it'll make a shadow for those. That's my understanding of it. Is that how you'd see it as well, Brain? So if
yes.
I just want to test something with that quickly then. So if I made this a movable chair, and then we make our light static, and then we bake our lighting, whether that shadow will disappear. Oh. Where's the light gone? What did I do? Did I turn it off?
Maybe the other object is movable as well. The ground.
Yeah, they're all static at the moment, it seems. I wonder why that happened. All I did was change this, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh no, hang on. I think it's maybe just your directional light can't be static then. That's what I expect it to be. So maybe we'll try that experiment with point or spotlights instead to see how that behaves. Okay, so the other options we got in here then, indirect lighting intensity. What I'd like to do actually before we continue is to maybe just create a couple of walls, just so we have a bit more to kind of, a bit of shadows that we can kind of work with a bit more, or look at. Look at that beautiful offset brainoid, it makes me so happy. Doesn't need to be perfect, but I'd like it to be lined up to an extent so that we don't have strange artifacts of overlaps or anything like that. Okay, that's fine by me.
Fine.
Fine. Let me just scale it in a tiny bit actually, just so it doesn't overlap. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. I am a professional. I've changed my mind one more time. We're going to scale it down a little.
Level designer.
Yeah. I'd love to get... I used to love making maps in CS, but I find it quite difficult. Yeah, I ended up having to have like that grid view on constantly with like 4 windows open at once.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a little bit more that will give us lighting at the moment. I wonder, is that because the light's over in that direction, right? Yeah, that's why we're getting that little shadow there is from this wall. So let's try and, should we try and get some rotation on this light then so we can change the origin? Because it's not actually set in these, is it? It's actually the rotation of the object itself. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so we think what origin we want to rotate around. Well, I don't know, I might just play with it and see how it reacts. So the X does nothing. The Y is potentially what we want here. So that, yeah, that's, you can see that's going around this Y. Anyone who's crap with origins and that as well, is just always imagine skewering on the direction you want. Like you're skewering meat, you have a pole going through there and it's spinning around on it that way. So, oops, I'm going to change our wall. So on here you can see that, yeah, we're moving around just in a flat direction that way. And then the Z as well will allow us to get some different directions. So I'd say the Y kind of does the sun height for us, going over in one direction, and the Z will kind of pivot around on that. So when it's directly above us, it's hard to see. But if we go on a lower angle like this, you can see how the Z is impacting it there. It's like spinning around the world, I guess, that way. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's think of it as Y. I know this may not be important to some people, but for me it is. So the rotations of the directional light impact the how it works, how it looks. I would say that the Y is the like length of shadows, and then the Z is the direction of shadows. That might maybe it's not completely correct, but for me it makes sense. Okay. Well, do we have anything else in here? So we have our indirect lighting. So scales the indirect lighting contribution from this light. Value of 0 disables any global illumination from this light. Default is 1. So does that mean anything with you, Brain?
Yeah, it should affect the, if you increase then build again, it should change the bouncing, right? But
do you like these sort of areas, do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can share my screen in the channel. I forgot that you can't see.
For me, it didn't work. I only were able to change that using the skylight. Maybe it was overriding it. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Okay, we'll try that and see what happens. So yeah, let's try this indirect light into 3, and then we will build and see whether it looks different. Let's do it before and after, shall we? We'll take a screenshot of this now, because sometimes it's very hard to notice. Okay, did that actually change? I'd like to say it did, but it's hard to tell. So let's get both of these up next to one another. We have that one there, that one here. This was the original.
It has less lights on the right side.
Over here?
Yeah, just look at the center of the... I don't know how to put it. So
do you mean like the corner, or do you mean all?
No, just closer to the end of the shadow on the ground.
Ah, here?
No.
Oh, well, there's definitely something there anyway. I don't know what.
Yes. So but it changed something.
But what we use... Yeah, the light actually changed quite a lot. What's going on there? I don't know if some of it was us moving the light around, actually.
It's simply removed the shadow of one chair there.
Yeah, okay, maybe that wasn't the best experiment. Let's take this down to 0.5. And
also try 10 as well.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, let's try 0.5 to begin with. Build lighting. And maybe I'll take some big screenshots so we can actually compare them. But... maybe so are you thinking it softens these edges?
So it softens too much that it destroys it?
Or as in, like, there's not much indirect lighting here, so we just have a hard, like, it's like either shadow or light. We'll have a look now. So this was 0.5. Let me close down the previous one so it opens so we don't get confused. So I'll put it on my left screen so I remember. That was 0.5. And then do you want to try like something like 5 instead?
Yes.
A big value.
6.
It's okay. And build lighting only and have a look. And we'll try and compare them and see what the difference is. Because this is one of those things where it's just... Okay, I saw the difference then when it rebuilt, which was nice. So it changed. The shadows are less dark. It may not be clear on the screenshot.
We didn't lose the chair this time. That's weird.
Yeah, I think the chair thing was because the rotation of the sun, dude, and we didn't rebuild.
Yeah, correct.
So if we grab these next to each other, yeah, so you can see the shadows here are a lot lighter. That's really cool because like before I changed it and not seen much of an impact. These don't seem to have changed much. They probably have, but it's just harder to see because it was so dark already.
So it doesn't go beyond 6?
I think it can go beyond 6. I can give that a go now. We'll go for one last boost. 6 the max. 6 is the max, but can I put 10? Lets me do 10.
You can.
I might as well do 12 to double it. And then build the light in. We'll keep an eye on the scene, see if it changes.
And also, we're probably building the lights in preview mode.
Yeah, it did go lighter again, by the way. Just so you're aware.
It did.
What do you mean by preview mode?
So it's not that slow, the lighting process. So if you go to build, drop down build, and lighting quality.
Lighting quality. Yeah, sorry, dude. Okay. Have you tried playing with these?
No, but I'm sure it will be real slow with production.
Let's go to high then.
Build. Yeah, we don't have a lot of objects, so it.
No, that's what I was hoping. It might kill the stream. That's what I've noticed with light. I remember whenever I did it in Unity, it used to kill things.
That's okay. It's more realistic, probably, what we don't understand in this scene.
Yeah. Okay, so initially, let's take this back to 1, and I'm just going to watch the scene to see the difference. And then we'll move on. So to my understanding, yeah, it makes the shadows... See it now get darker. Massively so, actually, yeah. Didn't seem to like change this side of things much, I don't think. Let's have a look at these again. The indirect, doesn't seem to like blow out things more or anything with it because it's the indirect lighting. So I think it is just purely like how much it fills the shadows in.
There's nothing to bounce from here. Maybe that's why. From the left side.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's the thought.
And also, can we go check the world settings if that only applies to in the light mass. So number of okay, that defines the skylight bounces, but also indirect lighting quality. Yeah. No, it was there in the second.
Oh, that. Either one will greatly increase build times.
Okay.
It can be useful to reduce indirect lighting smoothness when increasing the quality to get.
This helps to smooth out the edges of so rather have smoother shadows than hard ones.
Right. Yeah.
Use a bigger resolution UV for the light map.
Okay. We kind of played around with this. I think a higher value for us worked well as well. So we'll just do that. That's fine. Right. So then we have the scattering intensity.
That only works if you have a exponential height fog in your
right. Okay.
scene.
Let me write a little bit in here then of what we just learned. So then we have our the first is the intensity, right? I didn't write about that. Doesn't matter where the light is placed. It's the same thing. Remains the same strength, I should say. And I'd also note that default of 10 lux is pretty strong. Okay, and then the next thing was this indirect lighting intensity. Allow lighter shadows to become less. Oh no, with this bouncing really, because yeah, what's the difference between this as a shadow and that as a shadow? And I think it's the wall is here, right?
Yeah.
So it's these shadows would be the same otherwise, I believe.
Yes.
So and these barely got affected, right? So it's allows lighter shadows in places where light can bounce, changing from to 0.5, make it darker, played with 6 to 12 to get noticeably brighter. Okay, cool. Hold some of these things. Okay, so the volumetric scattering intensity, I'll write that as well while we're down there. So volumetric scattering intensity only impacts things if you're using volumetric. Using volumetric fog, did you say? So we'll come back to that later, I guess. Okay. Anything else in here? Let's click on the drop down. Shadow amount. Shadow resolution scale. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that most of these highlight shadows and translucency. Okay, that's interesting. That might be something we actually use. Deep shadow, high quality hair strands, self-shadowing. Wow. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we would change any of those really. What's the light mass then?
Light mass should be about light maps.
Right. What's a light map in that context?
So it maps the lighting. It bakes the light into a light map. So it's a texture.
Right. Is that based on all of the lights? It kind of turns it into, so it doesn't have to calculate it. It just turns like what the brightness at this point is.
Yeah, I don't know how it handles it though.
Okay.
I mean, what's the light source angle for the light map? I don't know about that.
Yeah, angle of the directional light and misses surface extends relative to the receiver. Yeah. Saturated. I wonder how that would be actually. Shadow Explorer controls the fall off of the shadow. Penumbras. Penumbras are? I wonder if this would change anything. To say a saturated.
Actually, isn't it better to have it saturated? Like,
Oh, up you mean?
it'd be easier to notice, I guess. Yeah, let's oversaturate it and build.
Did change. I'm just staring at pixels, waiting to see a difference. Ooh. Okay. So that is oversaturated the indirect lighting to be what I really like. I don't know why it takes that red. Is that just bouncing off this orange? Oh. If I was to delete these and rebuild.
Or move them below the ground.
I mean, that would be a more sensible approach. Very annoyed with his sensible ideas. Okay, let's build this again. And keep an eye on that back right wall. Still about that color. Could it be coming from this? Or is that just the natural oversaturated color, I wonder? I'm going to just try a quick test where I just remove everything that has that color in it. Maybe even that. Oh, wow. Let's do another build. It's one of these things where when we're in a game jam trying to use lighting as well, we don't really have... Okay, yeah, that's a lot less red now, I guess, but still got a tint of it. But that
probably we don't recognize, but yeah, that texture has some red in it.
Yeah, I believe that would be the case too.
Boost the channel, see it.
Oh no, my undo isn't working.
Ah, classic.
Why not? Why would it do that to me? Okay, that's okay. We can quickly pop to the other level. Oh, where's the default level?
I just create a new default level and never save it.
Oh, is it just file? Or is it new level? Sorry, dude. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't come with the chairs and stuff.
But there was a time of day thing. What's that? Okay, that's also different.
Oh, we can borrow it, I guess. That'll do. Oh, it's so big.
It's fine.
That's fine.
And its materials, it's not helping with the lighting. The floor material, I mean.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
It's using the default one. Ceramic tile.
The ceramic, was there?
What?
Yeah, that's a little bit shiny. That's fine. We can go with that. Okay. Somehow we lost the chair and everything. It's a sad day, but we'll move on. And we'll see if there's anything else we want to. I guess we did play with that a little bit then, that directional light, right? And we looked at the.
Yeah, so that's obviously changing things in the light map. The light mask settings, I mean.
Yeah, I think the term light map confuses me though. As in, is a light map? Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really translate to much sense to me.
I think light mass is much more confusing than light map.
Oh yeah, both don't mean much to me. Like, because for me, I imagine it's all the lights are shining on stuff, and that they all combine to change
map,
what color the material is.
at least map is something similar to a textured 2D thing that you look at.
So, what everything in your world has a light map generated for it.
Static thing is drawn into a light map, a single light map. I think lighting playground 1 build data in your content browser is containing that light map.
Right. So a 3D map then, is it?
Yeah, so it says map build data registry. So they also use the word map in it. Maybe about this map.
Yeah, it could be map or level. Who knows? Good. Okay.
What if we change the shadow of exponent and then
On this still at the large value?
fine, 1 is fine, I guess.
Let's do that first, and then I'll change the other one. Indirect lighting saturation. Let me just do a little note on that. Indirect lighting saturation is the saturates, I guess, the color of bounced light is what I'm getting from it anyway. Okay, so we want to see the shadow exponent. So let's see what it says. Controls the fall off of the shadow. So we're gonna have to really look at these sort of bits, I guess, right?
The edges?
Yeah. Or I don't think it'd be the length, would it? So exponent here, would the fall off be a quicker?
Congrats on I'm using the word penumbra here, yeah.
Go for 4. Oh, preview window, you're ruining my view. Okay, I didn't see any difference. Oh, I think it did then. I don't know. It looked like it wasn't done, but I think this got softer. Hang on. Let's take this to 1.
Oh, they change immediately.
The word preview came up. That's what made it look like it changed.
But you understand still. No.
Yeah, it only does it that once. I don't know why. So 1, we'll see if it looks harsh on the edges. Yes, for sure. Yes. For sure. That's quite cool. So if we go forward just one more time.
Quickly.
Build in. I'm less sure. I think as soon as you touch that number, it makes it go blurry. Yeah. Yeah, I think that the effect of it was exaggerated actually, because anytime you change the value, it makes it blurrier.
Okay.
So even if I go onto 4 now and build, it's going to look like it gets harder again. So it's I'm not 100% the difference. So yeah, I'm not going to write because it's not clear enough. I don't feel I know what it's doing. Okay. I'm just going to build again, just so when we change other stuff, we have an idea of it. So is there anything else we want to look at in here? I don't think so. There's a thing called light shafts.
Yeah, so first enable light shaft bloom. So if you look at the directional light, it doesn't work like this, right?
Because we don't have a sky.
We need a atmospheric fog or a skybox, I believe.
Okay. So yeah, I think we'll try and look at, there's so many settings in here, we're not going to go through them all. So we'll probably try and look at the next thing that typically goes with it then, right? Which would be the skylight, I think. So yeah, here we go. There is this one.
Maybe atmospheric fog, because skylight will work in harmony with that.
Oh, so add the fog now, you mean?
Yes, or if you like, you add it and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Atmospheric fog. So if we just add this in again, does this? Wow. Okay. That just gives you a horizon sort of thing as well. I didn't even know that that alone would be changing the color. So is that BP Sky Sphere a subclass of that?
No.
Okay. So atmospheric fog here is just, we'll put this, if we got a fog folder, no we have. We'll leave it there for now. So this has just given us a, I guess a world. It's confusing to me because I thought this is what the skylight was. If I get rid of this and put in a skylight, what happens? Just for me to. Okay, yeah, nothing. So the skylight changes the indirect light, and okay, so that's good to know.
And because it uses the atmospheric fog or the sky sphere to reflect.
Brill. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so if we say atmospheric fog. So this gives, yes, that's what we're doing at the moment, Pomo. This gives a kind of horizon, a color to the sky, basically.
A gradient to the sky, maybe.
Gradient color. The sky. For a beginner, it kind of sort of looks like the horizon. I'm just talking about it from a non-technical point of view as well. Blue, up high, and warmer colors. Zenith, the right word for it?
Yeah,
I think it is. Okay, then so here, this actually. Okay, let's see what settings we have when we add one of those in then. So, atmospheric fog. It's a sky atmosphere as well. That do. Right, it's not the same. Right, so I'm guessing the location of this doesn't matter again. So we're gonna just whack this up out the way. 1,100, a little bit higher than the sun. There we go. Location doesn't matter. And what you were saying, interestingly, is like this will impact. This can be used or will be used by the skylight to determine indirect light color, sort of thing. Is it?
Yes. So if you remember how I explained the reflection capture to you. So imagine this skylight is acting like a reflection capture, but it captures the atmospheric fog and the sky sphere, and then directs all the colors to the objects on the scene.
Okay. Let me just digest what you said. So you were saying that the skylight kind of acts like a reflector. What's it called? The reflection capture. But will capture the atmospheric fog and the, what was the other thing you said?
Sky sphere.
Sky sphere. And like push out that light onto nearby objects. Is that kind of what you said?
Yes. Not nearby, but like all the objects in the scene.
It's like a non-direct light, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. No, that sort of stuff is super helpful because it gives it a bit of meaning to it. I'm wondering how we could whether we'll see much even just from building now.
I know actually. So only having the atmospheric fog is not enough, I guess. So we need to chuck in the skylight.
As well, right? Is
Yes.
there any settings we want to look on atmospheric fog before or not? Do you think?
Yeah, I just changed the look of it. You can play with the sun multiplier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fog multiplier is to do with.
Yeah, it gets foggy.
Oh, I'm not really seeing much of a difference. Very much.
Probably would see more if we had a sky sphere behind it, maybe.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it might block the vision of the texture used, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So this isn't a texture. This is just like a gradient of color, almost to the over distance. And then that'll, when worked with the texture behind it, like the fake clouds or whatever, that then gives. Right. Okay, that makes sense a bit. Yeah, I think we need to see that with the other things. The sun disk scale. So, do we have a sun disk in here? Oh, you normally have to hook them up, don't you? If I remember correctly, there's no sun disk in this. So we may need to just play with these a little later when we have some more things. Okay, so let's try getting that sky light in then. So we're going to drop that in. Ooh, that's a good way to kind of see the difference. Look at that.
So it instantly starts to bounce the atmospheric fog light.
Yeah, that's super cool. I love how clear that is just dragging it in. I might just do a quick. I might not keep them, but for me, it's. Don't think. I don't think it went in to do this. There you go. Oh, when I do my screenshot, it cancels it. I can just leave it in, I guess. That's fine. There you go. Yeah, it enlightens this as well, and just like it's so clear what it does with this reflective ball here. Hello there, Lang. Did you not play LT games this time round? I am doing it today. I did one where I was doing regulars. You could have had it played. I played on Thursday night. I did around 3 hours where I didn't do a queue. I was just doing people I knew who could come in and share their game. But then I'm doing it in around an hour and a half. I'll be starting playing games and I'll be doing a big, well, around 4 or 5 hours, I guess. So feel free to pop by later, dude. I'd like to play your game. Yeah, sorry, Brian.
Skylight variables.
Let's yes. I'm also just gonna.
Oh, right.
Hang on. No, I think we wrote already about that. So let's have a look at the skylight variables. Indeed, I'm actually curious how it looked. Does it change how the? It doesn't change. It doesn't change it about the horizon or anything at the like anything else about the scene. It's literally just how the scene responds to stuff. Again, I'm going to just move this out the way. Another thing, doesn't matter where it is.
So you can see first we have a source type and it's captured scene.
Okay. And you can give it a specific map instead.
Yes.
Okay, so here, do they have some we can use? Daylight?
They do, yeah.
Oh, this is the one from the bloody that test scene. So that's impacting the colors that come from it as well as the reflections that it gets. That's right.
Yes.
Ah.
So, I'll ask you to go to directional light and lower the bouncing. bounce light, bounce intensity, was it?
Was that in the scene, or was it? I think it was in here, wasn't it? The bounce.
No,
Not number of bounces, light bounce intensity. You said. Was it?
wait. Yes, there. So we changed that to 6.
Okay, yeah.
Back to 1.
I think it was 1 initially, wasn't it? Shadows should get darker once it's finished. I know that much. Yeah.
Well, skylight is also lighting the shadow, so they are lighter. Actually, can we try to get that to 0, or what happens if we remove the directional light now?
Question? FX World?
Yeah. Build.
What, as in whether there's any ambient light that comes from it? Like, as in...
In our indirectional, we have an indirectional ambient light already, so everything gets lit up because we have an atmospheric fog. And
why the atmospheric fog?
Oh, sorry, you chose a different cube map, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's change that back to the...
Okay. So we have skylight, change this back to scene captured.
Okay.
And then if we but still, I expected it to be darker, so you don't actually need a directional light.
No, you don't, but this doesn't give you a direction. All the objects get lit.
Right, yeah.
You have a sphere.
There's also no shadows cast from it. Okay, that's I just want to make a note of that. Okay. If we got rid of skylight, no, directional light, this would light the scene, but it doesn't cast shadows. No, it isn't directional, and the color will come from the scene / cube map. Morning, Safarako. Okay, let's go back then. Where is the sky distance threshold? Intensity, energy that the light emits. Oh, that changes in runtime, which is nice actually. I guess they can because it doesn't need to calculate angles and that, does it?
Actually, it calculates. I don't know what's going on here because it has indirect bounces.
So maybe it's just a preview mode. Let's try and compile and see if that changes.
No.
Thank you, Safarako. Appreciate it. I hope you have fun playing games. We'll be doing some LD games later today as well. Okay, light color you can do as well. So this is just a tint on top of whatever you're getting, I guess, right?
Yes.
So I can't imagine you really want to do much with it typically. It might be a cheap way to warm things up or something. So what's lighting things up now if it doesn't affect the world? The skylight, that's what's confusing me. I wonder if it's the atmospheric fog. Because I'd imagine this should be dark, like completely dark.
Yeah.
Could just because I said it affects world on the directional light, it's still kind of there. I don't know. Well,
Don't know.
No, neither do I. Let's get the atmospheric fog back in.
You cannot undo, right?
I don't trust undo. Let me down before.
So can we change atmospheric fog to static?
To be static, did you say?
Yeah. And also,
yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't know how to see what it's going to impact either, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I want to try and get this back and realize what I've undone to make this look a bit crap at the moment. So the directional light we can leave off. We'll turn that back on in a mo. But what was I changing in here? Effects world. I think. Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it? Because the world was completely dark earlier. I wonder, does that alone? Does your world settings have lighting? Oh, hey, Realitio. We can have a look. It was completely black earlier, I think, when we came in. But it seems like these things are just staying lit.
Yeah, and even when we delete...
This is so weird. Does... if you see anything in here, Realitio, you have environmental intensity and environment color. Environmental color and intensity. We set that to 0 and then rebuild. Be nice if it did just go totally blank. But what changed that? Okay, good. Can't remember us changing that. Maybe it changes when you bring in a light map thing, because the color seems.
I don't know.
No. Highlight. Didn't change anything. All right. I can't remember changing that. Maybe it's on by default. Hey, Loveways. Yeah, exactly, Realitio. That's what we're trying to do this session for, because it's like it's okay to get decent lighting quite quick, but I think there's a lot of subtleties that come with all of this. So I very much appreciate you getting involved there. Would we want the environment? So
let's keep it as 0 for now, then we can.
Yeah, because at least we know where the light's coming from if we keep it as 0, right? I think I'll just make a quick note about that.
World settings.
Have I published anything on Steam? No, I have not. I've always been interested. It would be nice to have a game to publish it. Or to publish is a strange word for it, but yeah, to put it on Steam. But yeah, I didn't want to just chuck any of the games I've made are not worth paying for, really. Like the Game Jam games and that I've put time into. They're either going to be like free mobile games where you get money from advertisements, or they would be like a free game that you play on itch.io or whatever. I'd need to put more time into a game, I think, to make it something is worth putting on Steam. how are you doing anyway, Realitio? Right, back to the window scene. Okay. So let's he's out the way, get it back. Chuck him into our lights folder, and then we're back where we were. Our light's a bit strong though, so let's get that back to where we wanted it. And then our skylight, we can still use the scene for it. That's fine by me. It's built. You are doing good. Thanks for asking me. Trying to push my dialogue system a bit further. Still haven't got the silly graph. Oh yeah, you say you were making your own custom graph stuff. And did you get any chance to do Ludum Dare, by the way? If you wanted to see our game, it's probably the best looking and potentially best jam game we've ever done. Now a command for it. A fancy.
Change the rotation of directional light.
Ah, yes, we did. Thank you, dude. So we set this to be. This is the one of like how high in the sky it is. We had something like this, and then we had how long the shadows. Oh no, this one was meant to be. Yeah, the rising. Okay, yeah. Do that, and then we'll rotate it a little bit. Looks good. Okay, save. Oh, again. Yeah, fair enough, Realitio. Fair enough. Yeah, it's not very intense of a game. It doesn't feel very intense in terms of how many objects we've got or meshes or textures, but it's lots of people are saying it runs like rubbish on their computers. So yeah, we got a bit to learn about optimization as well. Okay, so we were gonna be looking at our skylight. So that was nice to know about the cube map and whether it uses the scene or not. Cube map resolution. What would that impact? The reflections itself? You think?
Yeah, so it creates a texture, right? Capturing the sphere.
Right.
The
So
resolution of that texture.
yeah.
So imagine if you have your face.
Yeah.
In the sky sphere. It will be blurry right now. The light, the image of your face.
Yeah.
Reflecting on the surface.
Yeah. Okay.
Larger.
Okay, that sounds cool. The sky distance threshold, that is like what things it takes into account. It's interesting if this is really low, whether it would detect an item really close to it, you know? Right, intensity scale then. Total energy that the light emits. Did we start playing with this one?
So that will light up everything.
Oh, this is good. Look how dark the shadows are. This is like one of the issues we were having in AHA. And I'm wondering, I don't know if it's anything to do with the lack of atmospheric fog and the setup of things. It'd be interesting to have a look to see if I can get those shadows working after this session. Thank you, Reality. Yeah, we're getting a lot of crashes, but we've reduced them now. We used a bit of blueprint. Rena did quite a bit. So if we change this to a higher number, yeah, it pretty much gets rid of all the shadows. Okay, that's one of the things that we were trying to work out before was this, but I think you need to have other things in place in order for it to kind of work. Okay.
Oh, yeah, remember we had indirect light intensity in the directional light as well.
Yes. Which was the lux, right?
No, indirect lighting intensity. Yeah, that one. That was basically you send your light ray from the directional light and then it bounces, and the intensity of it.
Right.
And now our skylight also bounces, and it has a different intensity.
Where does it bounce from? All right, with the directional light, I understand we got like an angle, right? But with the skylight, is it from everywhere?
Skylight as well from where it's casting the light, because it's a sphere.
It's a sphere. So does the position matter then on the skylight?
No, it's a sphere. It wraps all your scene.
Oh, and like shoots inwards.
Yes.
Right, inside the sphere. I see what you mean. Hey, books now. Good emote combo. I'm just going to go and grab a jumper quickly. It's getting a bit chilly. I won't be too long.
Okay. Jumper.
Almost back.
Pleasure.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, my headphones are back in. Sorry about that, sneeze. And hello, Booksnell, who wants to read a story about the tank character. What sort of person do you think he would be? Or cat, I should. Give us your understanding of what it really means to be the tank. What sort of things has he seen? So Brain, do you remember what were we chatting about just before?
Let's bump up the indirect lighting intensity of skylight.
Okay. So this is the same in terms of it goes from 1 to 6 as well, right? Yeah, I knew that was familiar. So no, we're just going into here, we're bumping that up, and we will do a quick build of light in. Okay, it lightened up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Not vastly, but we will chuck this down to 0.5 even. Maybe that'll help us see a bit more.
Actually, it changed already.
It changed already, did you say?
Yeah, I guess shows the preview of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the preview is really frustrating actually, because as soon as you type anything different in, actually it didn't that time. Okay, that time it hasn't. So like quite often when you change the value, it changes to like an intermediate state, doesn't it? Yeah, it's quite a bit lighter, isn't it? Makes quite a bit of difference as well. So
so one thing here, if you go to that lit bit, I don't know what to call it, lighting, rendering options.
oh,
So
that
no, lit, perspective lit, show lit,
hold
top
on.
left, top left in the game view.
Yes.
Okay. From there, there should be something called. There should be an option that we see the bounce lights.
Is it one of these visualizations? Can't see it in here.
We see the lighting only, and maybe detail lighting. I don't. No, not this one. Don't know.
This gets rid of textures.
Actually, we don't need textures. Yeah, the other one is better. So, they with the story I watched, they had a sky sphere as well, and so in the sky sphere, if you change the position of the sun, so some light is some sides are blue, some sides are orange. In this lighting only mode, so maybe we can try to achieve that. Because
I kind of get how do I change the sun to have different lights on different angles?
we don't have a sky sphere now.
Oh, right. So using a sky sphere. Okay. Yeah. Let me just reassess my list to see what we're going through. The skylight. I'm happy we did. Then we did our atmospheric fog after that, and then we looked at our. Sorry, we did our directional light first. We did the skylight after that. So yeah, the other thing we haven't sky sphere we haven't really put in, have we? Let's just drop that in there. Okay, so the sky sphere then. Actually, let me just double check there's nothing on this directional light we want to look at, and also just state that you can change the skylight. This also has a intensity. Okay. Anything else in here?
You're looking at directional lights, so.
Oh. Interesting how that.
Change the mode, right?
Yeah, I guess it's like two different types.
What if you reduce the shadow amount in there?
Oh.
That was what we're looking for.
We've been looking for something like this for quite a while, haven't we?
Yeah. Man, I searched like 20 forums for that. No one mentioned the shadow amount.
Okay, let's note that down. We found a directional light. There's a shadow amount directly changes the intensity of shadows. Seems. Or did this one actually go stronger? Ah, okay. What's happening here?
Is it movable? That one is?
Movable. And these are static. But so for movable things.
No, try to build again with the shadow amount changed. Maybe that would affect it.
I think this one's going to be darker still. Yeah.
Darker.
Yeah. It seems to. Where are we? Shadow amount here. We build it, I guess, 1. What was the default value? Was it 1? Yeah. It seems to just be affecting movable. objects. The looks of it. Yeah, we're not 100% what it is, reality though. It seems like it affects this movable one, but not the static stuff. Hello there, Merlin. Nice to see you. And I need to read out Book Snail's story on the tank. So, based on the picture, it looks like the tank has seen some bad stuff. The tank is always sad, but persists on because no one else can do the job. After a day of pain for others, and for what? Mage dies after one hit anyway. Poor Mage. So much power, yet a body that can't contain it. The tank just wants to sit around and listen to the band. Imagine that is big. He has that face, constant like sad face on. As soon as the bard plays, he loses it. He forgets about all of the blood that's been shed. Maybe it's making less of a kid's story now, but still a compelling story nonetheless. Okay. We were in our skylight and we were just making sure there was nothing more in here that I was interested in looking at. Yeah, the rest of it doesn't seem like stuff I should be messing around with. Okay, so the next thing we're going to try and put in is a sky sphere. Is that the one?
Yes.
The sky sphere is a little bit different in the sense that it's a pre-made one, so it has some logic in there as well. So we're going to just drop this in. And the difference we get now is we now have a sun and we now have clouds. It's faint, but this is where we'll get to play with the volumetric, the fog, I think, in order to see the difference of what we were changing earlier. The sky sphere, you need to give it a directional light actor, if I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose to.
Oh. So before that, it was just taking a random value, but now I think it will tie into the rotation of this now.
It wasn't a random value, but predefined sun position. So you adjust the sun height using that, I guess.
Because it seems to, without this, hang on, sorry, mistake. Or maybe it's been changed now by what I just did. Was it the sun?
Also, we might need to recapture the skylight. Oh, okay, it did. It did.
Yeah, this I just reset it as well. So the sun height is why it was looking that warm. Okay, let me think about this then. So first off, colours determined by the sun position. That's what I was expecting to happen when I moved the sun, but it didn't seem to change it. Brightness. Is it going to be one of those where we have to
move the sun? What do you mean move the sun?
So when we changed the angle of the directional light, I thought it was tied to it. That's why we hooked them up here, but maybe I've misunderstood.
Okay, so sun height. It overrides the directional light.
Oh, it's magical Brain Eye. Okay, so these settings are basically just changing the way that this works. And if I remember correctly, isn't it just a material and these values kind of feed through to say which one should be more visible or not, right? And what kind of colors to put on it. Cloud opacity. It actually looks quite cool if you go on a really high value.
So if you build like this, it should get bluer, I guess.
Oh, in the scene.
If it's capturing.
Yes. Okay, I need to think about what's happening. sun brightness here, I'm wondering how that impacts it. I guess when the sun's down, it doesn't. Get the sun quite bright in the day. And how does sun brightness impact? It might impact the amount of light it comes from it. I don't know. It doesn't seem to do anything otherwise.
And also, while we have these settings in Skysphere, let's play with atmospheric fog again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think the sun brightness actually impacts the shadows as well here.
Yeah, it affects everything.
But so... yeah, sorry, you got. I just want to see how it changes now when I go back to the default value. Not change. And maybe it didn't change. That might have been the sun height or something I changed that caused that. My bad. I will play with what you said a moment ago. I'm just trying to understand then the what's the point of putting the directional light actor in here then?
I think it physically places the sun somewhere.
So this is based on. Does it move the rotation of it based on it as well? I'm trying to think what it governs. Like, do we move the directional light or do we just purely play with this?
Might be doing that.
Okay.
So where's the sun? Okay, it's in front of us right now. And where's the directional light pointing at?
This was the old play. This is the way the directional light used to point at, right? So it's put the sun in relation to that. Sense. So if I was to move the directional light now, it may not move with it in real time. Let's do this one actually, like that. Remove it completely, right? And then we'll build. Will it update? Or maybe we need to click that refresh material button. We'll see now. Yeah, that hasn't changed. Let's go to Skysphere. Yes. Okay, that's what I was hoping. So it was tied to it. It's just when I first did it, it didn't move with it. I got confused.
Cool.
Okay, it looks quite nice at the moment. Our scene is coming together. Thank you, default Unreal stuff. I just want to jot a few things down before we go into what you said. So what have we done here? We added a Skysphere, so a pre-made blueprint. And what this did for us was essentially give us a bunch of textures to look like the sky. That are blended together to look like the sky. Has settings that govern which of the textures are shown, intensity and speeds. Clouds, sun, stars. I think you can, hook up your directional light actor. And it will place the sun orb, let's just call it that, texture in the place in relation to your directional light. Directional light. I think that's one thing I've struggled with playing around with light. Is sometimes, like some stuff does it automatically. Sometimes you need to rebuild it, and in this case, you need to click refresh material. So I just found out that ag is not a real word. Can't tell you how angry I am at this. Hang on. I know you're joking. I'm just trying to... You can't tell me because the word doesn't exist. There's other words for angry, Balrog. Sometimes. Okay. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that at the moment. Although, how does the sun height then work? Yeah. Brill. You can't change it.
Yes.
Hooking it up to directional light will prevent you from being able to change stats. Oh, params like sun height. Good. I'm really glad it did that.
Being able to. Okay.
Right, so we were going to have a look at the the atmospheric fog, right? Maybe I should reduce the amount of clouds because it's quite intense. I think at the moment. Let's just put it at 1. 1 is fine. Okay. And yeah, we are going to play around with the atmospheric fog. And what do we want to look at? Sun multiplier. Okay. Okay, so that's like applying the color of the sun to the fog, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's a haziness kind of stat. I like how we can see these in real time as well. This kind of does the same. A bit different though.
Bring some multiplier to a lower value and then play with fog multiplier.
It's the same sort of thing. Basically, it tends to do the same thing, but this takes a lot less steps to get brighter. That's like there's more particles to pick up the sun bit. I see it as. Whereas this one is just. Oh no, I'm complete. It's going up just as quick again. I apologize. They seem very similar. Scale the scattered luminance. How does a lion become a cannibal? He must first swallow his pride. There we go. And see, that was better. Thank you, Balrog. I'll accept that one.
We could change our angle and try again. This also because one is affecting the objects, I guess, and the other affects everything.
Objects is in. Okay, so what do you think you want from the angle? What, higher up or?
I don't know. So if you read the description of them,
on surfaces excluding the sky. But it seems to still fill the sky with white when we do it. See? What's he doing?
I don't know.
No. Naughty Mario. Okay, let's read this. Atmosphere transmittance over background. So is this what the fog actually looks like? I guess this is the.
Yeah.
And we're giving it like priority over what we got. Back. See offset. I think that is doing kind of the same thing. Not too sure why there's 2 values for that, but distance scale. Well, there's something happening. We've got this. What have I done? It tends to. Is it bringing the fog down?
Yes. But you think altitude would do that, right?
And it gets to a point where it seems like it's no longer down. Is it like a torus of fog or something?
Probably because there's a fall of value as well, and we don't have it, so it looks sharp.
Yeah, maybe. Altitude.
So changing them individually, not meaning much, maybe.
They all tend to just do the same thing. Just make the sky brighter. Ground offset. This seems like another. Yeah, I
More of.
think the fog only starts at a certain offset from the sky. That's what this is, right? Although get lower. Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense. Kind of. But then it gets brighter again. Start distance. We're getting the same sort of stuff. I'm not. For me at the moment, I'm not feeling like I would know really what to change with that. Sun disk scale. Is this something we do? Do we need to build it for it to do? I don't think we would refresh texture maybe.
Or maybe SanDisk is something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Where is it? Sky sphere. Yeah, nothing has changed there. Okay, you can go back to there. There's another brightness. Okay, this is kind of. I mean, it's kind of interesting because you can change the sky without changing the light. Maybe I'm not sure if we rebuild whether we would get the lights coming from.
It should, yeah.
Because it should look at the atmospheric fog to create the skylight, right? Or to the skylight uses the atmospheric fog. Yeah, it has changed. So okay. Disable. Oh, why did I not read disable properly there? A disable.
If you look straight up from where you are, okay, I think that's the SanDisk.
Oh, do you?
I don't know. What is that if it's not the SanDisk?
That's like that's where all of the sphere of fog around us is kind of getting more intense.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Cool.
Disable game object. Shut up.
You see perfectly.
I am a pronunciation master. Okay, I'm finding there's not many settings I change on the atmospheric fog that I understand.
Remove it and build again.
Do you say remove it?
Yeah, and build again. It adds another layer to blend with, but I'm not sure if it's.
It seems to just give you a bit of more like general light and like less contrast in shadows a bit as well.
Okay.
Just because it's giving you more, it's brightening up bits in here, which gives this more information, I think, to light stuff up. That's what I'm guessing is going on. Oh. Is this sky atmosphere? I can't even remember. No, it was
fog. Can't do that.
That would be silly, wouldn't it?
This is also movable right now.
Yeah, I don't cast shadows though. I don't have a mesh, so I guess it may not matter. But yeah, it generally lights it up and it makes it seem less. It seems like there's more distance to stuff, I find. Right, it makes it less obvious that this is like just an infinite distance away. But yeah, in terms of settings, well, now I'm always going to look at that. Right. Hang on, maybe this is with a height. There you go away. Can't see it much anymore. Fixed it, brain. Okay, I think I've had enough of looking at atmospheric fog.
Build again, and we're actually looking at this in lighting only mode. All right.
I don't think I need to rebuild.
So do we have everything affecting the world right now? I want to make sure.
Oh, it's in what effects world is turned on, you mean?
That just look at directional light and skylight.
Yeah, just found that interesting. Effects world. Effects world.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Dynamic indirect lighting. Okay, well, we have a few more things, right? What if I try and make a box of darkness? Let's think. So we can use this.
Box of darkness?
Like a room.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I should use the more conventional term.
Yeah, so you go indoors now.
Yeah, or yeah, just so we can see how that light impacts these areas where we're not actually outside.
With an open door, we'll be able to see the bouncing light better, I guess.
I agree with you. But it will take me a second. Because I don't want little gaps either, because that can impact this thing. Please bear with me while I struggle with being a level designer. I wish it didn't just jump up a little every time you clone it.
Amateur level designer looking for jobs. Okay. Perfect. It's fine.
Don't tell me it's fine when it's not, brain.
What's that gap?
That's where the light is going to seep in. See, even if I duplicate the floor and move it up, it's just going to go offset. I don't want it to. Same with this. What if I just copy and paste? Okay, copy and pasting seems to not have that same problem. Oh, Control C and V may be the solution we need.
Yeah, also, if there's a button a shortcut to disable the snapping, because snapping causes that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so if you duplicate in non-snapping mode, it doesn't add that margin.
I see.
Two more then?
Yeah,
Maybe.
sorry, dude. I know it's taking a while. Is that one right? No, it's not. Okay, so if we have this, and then we will take all of these. And then we'll duplicate those. Just move it over here. A sec. Stupid. Whatever, I don't care.
You look like you care.
I don't care. Shut up. We want to scale this one in.
That's fine, actually.
Yeah. You can do a half little wall like that, and then I'm trying to think how we could get into here without letting the light in. I guess we can just start in there. Oh, what's going on here? Is there a gap?
Do we have bleeding? Yeah. I don't think so. Let's build the light.
Yeah. Because I think it'd be interesting to try and set up like a night scene and see how things would be done a bit differently as well. There must be a gap or something here.
What about the other room? Is it?
Oh, what does it go? Texture of it change is not. Oh, I guess it's.
They're inside each other.
Something over. Yeah, but that shouldn't cause that.
What about the other room? Is it dark?
No. I've built the line already. This shouldn't matter. Is it based on the type of objects these are? Movable?
Or maybe skylight is. Don't know.
Realistically, these would be static, right?
Yes. Are they static? They are.
No, they're movable.
Oh, then let's make them static. Otherwise, they don't get baked.
But it'd all be done at runtime, right? We'd have to press play, is it? In order to see a difference. Okay, that's a little more like we expected, right? Ah, it still gets some of that sky sphere. So is this where we would put a thing in? Like one of those reflector things?
Yes.
Aha. To say, hey, your reflection information does not. Okay, that's pretty cool. And that's the impact of it, is that small. And we have a radius. Guess it'd need to be just big enough for the room. Okay. Yeah, I find that in. Like, that's the first time I've actually seen a purpose of this thing.
Yeah. Here now I want to get the directional light intensity lower, but to see the effect of the skylight more.
Right. I was just realizing this looks really weird.
Yeah.
Based on the size of it? Yeah, maybe it just needs to be. It's weird because it actually directly impacts this stuff as well. I don't know whether you need to rebuild this sort of stuff. I don't think you do, but I'll do what you said in just a moment. It's odd to get like the. Okay, it's not as harsh, yeah. That's good because you can see here you get the reflection of the door, whereas before we didn't. That's really cool. It's the first time I've actually seen use of this stuff. Okay, so sorry, Peyton, would you mind saying what you're interested in seeing?
Lower the intensity of directional light.
Okay. Directional light or the skylight?
Directional light. So let's get it back to 1. Not back to it, started it. Maybe even lower, what do you think? Okay.
S is not a value down. It seems silly to have it that low though, because it doesn't seem to like cause a. Doesn't really cause shadows then. Like the lighting is almost exclusively coming from the skylight then. I feel it should be.
No, I want to see the influence of the skylight color, so I want more orange. So lowering it, then I want to boost the intensity of skylight.
Would this one or would it be the
Scale. So
whoa! What?
That.
Why did it go so high?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand with Unreal.
2. Slider taking you up 1,000 at a time when clearly 1,000 doesn't seem to be full amount.
So it's completed. Yeah, it looks orangey, but I guess we don't have a lot of The atmosphere is a little desaturated, right?
Yeah, we could try and change the position of the sun.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Hold on. Because let me just get the shadows in, it helps me see.
Cool.
So if we were to bring it low down like that, we'll get the shadows. Coming across, so it's less. Mm-hmm. Oh. Really? Okay, let me go back.
Can you change from world to local as well? Thank you.
Oh yeah, that helps a lot. That's going to be straight down, right? So try and do it as long as we can there. And then we go back into this. The sun height is the same. Oh, it's gone down a little bit. The color isn't.
Color is not changing.
Well, if we put it high, just a sec. Just bang up and then do a redraw. Sorry, wrong. Yeah. Kind of working straight up, but we're not getting a really warm nighttime or late evening.
Yeah, fog is maybe tinting it. If it's an additive material, maybe.
Hmm.
If it's not multiplying, if it's adding.
Yeah, it's really hazy. You're right, actually. Let's go to this fog. Then I don't even know what we changed on this. We didn't change anything, did we?
No.
Hmm.
Does it change anything if you remove it? I know you removed it several times, but okay, yeah.
Not massively, though, is it?
Yeah, not massively, indeed.
It just desaturates the yellow a bit. Hey, Artifacts, how you doing? So the light looks more orange now, actually.
Yes. So that was definitely making it more white. And now even in the room we see some orange.
Yeah, let me just double check that was the influence. Rebuild. See if it brightens it. Yeah, a lot. A lot. We can always just put it really low down on the fog multiplier. We don't delete it completely.
Also maybe density as well. What was density?
City where only Dans live.
Density.
Wonderful place. There we go. Let's try and look over here and play with the density, as you said. Ooh.
Yeah, actually density changed a lot.
The higher the density, the less fog. That should change things again for us. Quite fun playing around with this, actually, isn't it?
Or because of the fog, it gets darker somehow.
Oh, dense fog, so less light. I don't know. But it looks a little bit more like natural, I guess, now, right? I wonder how I'm playing with this luxing.
Nice.
It's still really high. I don't think we'd have that, but I think we had like 3 before, which felt like a decent light. Working on your game server for a multiplayer game. Is this still the kind of Fall Guys-y style one? Artifacts?
Nice.
Okay, good. And this is still nothing. Again, if we got rid of that, then it looks like this. Ooh, trippy. Sorry. Okay. Right, I feel like I haven't written anything for a while. So let me think with this atmospheric fog. So for like
all the settings change brightness.
for lower sun settings, sun positions, this can add a lot of brightness. Unexpectedly. So that you'll see it will impact the color of the indirect light. Bouncing, I guess. Most of the settings seem to just make the sky more white. Cool. What else have we played with? What we changed in here? Played around with that. We played with the directional. Oh, we played with we moved the sun around a little bit. But generally, yeah, it wasn't that much. But I can talk about this thing. So use case. Make a sealed room with reflective surfaces. Go inside. It's black, but you get the skylight reflection in the like a colorful horizon. Use a reflection capture so that we capture the local environment for reflections in this area only. Yeah, I like that. That's really given me a use case of when we actually use it. Okay. What else have we got in here? So we could then start looking at point lights and stuff, I guess. Unless you have something else you were interested in looking at in particular, Brain?
No, just go for it, yeah.
Okay. So the other things we had on the list were point light and spotlights and the exponential height fog as well. So would the exponential height fog would be worth looking at first?
Let's look at it later because it's too much. We don't have much time.
Okay. Oh, crikey, you're right. You're right. Okay, let's go. I only just saw the time. Point. Okay, so what we have with a point light is in all directions it will shine out. And you can change the intensity of this light here, and importantly you can change the attenuation radius. Typically you don't want these, you wouldn't just make like a bunch of massive ones of these. There's also a thing you can do with the based on if they're movable or dynamic. I can't remember that you can only have up to 4 of them overlapping. If they are
if they're static, they're gonna get written in the light map, and if they're overlapping, there will be issues calculating them. So it will show a cross on the gizmo of it, but they're too close to each other.
Yeah, so if you have more than 4, I think overlapping it is. You see,
it's about the proximity, not because of the number of them.
I've seen it multiple times. I've been told it's like 4 or something though. But I don't know whether that was for movable ones instead.
I said it's also about the proximity. Probably there's a limit to them.
Okay. This thing, inverse square fall off, I've learned is a way where it fills the sphere differently. So if we now change the intensity, oh, that's really not done.
From the edges, well, Right now the sphere is out of bounds. I mean, out of the room.
What? Because it's so big, you mean?
Yeah.
If we just make it, the size of this room for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we go back to normal mode, can't see anything at the moment. Broke it. Force radius? No, what have I changed?
Was it stationary by default?
I don't know. I think it was.
Yes, it was.
Just can't. It's not showing anything anymore, is it? Okay, this. Did I just set the radius tiny? Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah. At that size, we're not really getting much out of it.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry. The thing I saw before was basically saying that the way you have the size of this, but it doesn't always. It might. I don't know if it's going to be easier in this darker room to see. That based on the size, you can see it doesn't really fill that sphere. Maybe it's better if we put this against the back wall. So we can change the size of it. But you've got this kind of fall off here, and this is a different way of doing that. But then you can use this fall off to control how much of it fills as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a different way that you can.
Yeah, change the controls of it. Cool.
Doesn't seem to like when you go back off of that mode. You need to go to that, then you untick it. Yeah, it seems to. Something boards when going between these. Don't know if it's this. Yeah, it uses a different unit, I think. And then the unit doesn't update or something if you switch in between them. But it's not massively important. So what's important here is that you basically just position it wherever you want and it will create a light and you can change the color.
Build the light now?
Sure, let me just get this a kind of bluey. I guess we could go tungsten sort of light.
I want to try the bounciness of it. So we build, then we increase the indirect lighting intensity.
Oh, do you want it in that other room then?
No, this is fine.
Oh, because the indirect lighting from this, you mean?
Yes, this bounces as well.
Oh, wow, that looks cool. So we built it. Okay. So this has indirect lighting intensity here, right?
Yeah, let's have it at 0, for example. So we see that it's bouncing, probably a little bit.
See how that changes it. I'm looking on that like right wall on the roof. Yeah, okay. It's darker. You still get reflection, but that's more the material, right? Mm-hmm. Reflecting that. And you can actually change that. The source radius is, I think it's that. It changes how big that light looks when it's in reflections and stuff.
I think source radius is if you put it inside a wall, and if the radius is bigger than the wall, it starts to emit light from that source. It's hard to explain, but I know this from Blender.
Right, okay. Someone said that it was what I said as well, but what you said makes more functional sense. Mm-hmm. It's an infinitely small point. Otherwise, if I just put this 10, for example, I'll just see if anything changes in how it looks here, just so we can build. Dun, dun. Didn't really do anything, did it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
if you place it inside a wall with the source radius is 0, so yeah, build it like this.
See what happens.
And then let's increase the source radius and build again.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that can be useful if you don't want it to feel like it's coming from a little bit in front of it, right?
Yeah.
Still looks a bit annoying because of the room.
Yes.
Is there a gap, or I don't know why that's lit up.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But we want to then change this radius. I guess. Yeah, the radius here is 500, right? So we probably want to go to like 100. 50. Cool.
It already shows that I'm right.
I wasn't seeing that when I was changing the value before. And it does change how it looks there.
Yeah, it does.
What was going on before then?
Okay, so it just changed the scale of the Hadouken. Hadouken sphere.
Hadouken! Oh, we got a little dark spot there.
Yeah.
But sweet. That's cool. So there's a bit of a better explanation for it anyway, isn't it? So
preview. Okay, I think you can also try the spotlight, but
yeah, it's going to be similar. I wanted to look at the indirect lighting though, because we turned it off, but we didn't turn it back on.
We don't have lots of time left. 4 minutes.
I might run it over a tiny bit.
Oh, you're gonna get lots of submissions.
Kattenberg. I want to look at this spotlight point light, and I want to change the indirect lighting intensity to 5. Let's see how the room changes. Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's quite an important value to play with, I guess, in these situations. Control Shift semicolon. Maybe I need to get used to that shortcut.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, let's try that. I used the shortcut. I think I did, or is it doing a full build or something now?
Cool.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. I think I prefer it quite low, personally, but doesn't particularly matter. That's just it depends on what you want it for, right? So let's just do that, and then I'll put a little spotlight in the other room, and then I think we are done. Kentora, nice. Kenota, sorry, not Kentora. Nice to see you. We're looking at lighting this month, so learning about lighting in the engine that of your choice is kind of what we're trying to look at. So in here, if we just do a little spotlight, then instead. So yeah, spotlights are kind of quite common for like interior lighting, or even like what do you call it, like lamps and stuff outside. And I think the real things on this that we care about, we have a brightness, but we also have our cone angle.
It has more intuitive controls, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we might do is make this wall a little bit Can I not change to yeah, we can make this wall a little bit well. Might be too
Perfect.
just to get block a bit more light out, so it's a bit okay. Yeah, so we can see more what's going on here. So with the spotlight, you have an outer cone and an inner cone angle. You notice that the inner cone angle can't ever exceed the outer cone angle, and it just gives you that harsher line. If we click off, you can see it looks like that.
Controlled by the difference between them.
Yeah. So yeah, generally, it tends to look more natural if you just have a bit of a difference between them, right? Lighting color is all the same as before. Go for a bluey kind of light in here. So yeah, instead of making the this attenuation radius massive all the time, so I saw something about the source length. No, there's something you can do. Oh, it once again has this alternative method of lighting as well, but you can see that it changed. We got the same bug happening when we switch between them. But yeah, you can play with that different type of lighting. I'm trying to remember what I saw before. Source radius, I think, is going to be similar to what we saw before, where we just have that how big of a sphere you want it to appear when it in the reflections and that as well, or if you maybe if you had it in the wall as well. But is it the length? Maybe I saw. And I guess we would have the indirect lighting intensity. So if we check this down to 0 and build. What's cowboy caviar? It's a like a bean salad. It's a food thing. So that's what it looks like with not much bouncing around. Check that up to around 1 and just see what happens. We'll see. So every Sunday, Fire, we do a monthly game dev challenge, I call it. So this month we're going to be looking at learning more about lighting in Unreal. So for the last couple of hours, we've been just going through and learning about. So we have a directional light, which is kind of like our sun. It doesn't look like a sun, but the light that you get from a sun. You can change the angle that it's pointing and the shadows that are cast from it as a result. Through rotating it in this way, we might want to go, let's just do something like that so we get a bit of light going into that room. This, we then have ourselves some atmospheric fog, which is a way of making a bit less of a harsh edge between what we have our sky sphere, which is the clouds and the sun textures, which are default Unreal here. But you see, like it's a way of kind of giving you a bit of distance fog and making that blend a little less obvious. We've put it low for now because we're trying to get a bit more like of the skybox color in, because the other thing then we looked at was the skylight, and the skylight is essentially a thing that will take in the light of the environment and then bounce that around as indirect light. So you can either make it, that's why we're trying to change the color of surroundings, or you can give it a cube map where you directly choose like a preset of what it should of different environments, I guess, and it'll use that to give you your indirect lighting. Or you can, as I say, capture the scene, which is what we were trying to do here. And then yeah, the final thing, I guess, was this sky sphere, which is an Unreal asset which kind of has a bunch of these textures like clouds and suns and sun and the stars, and based on a few settings you give it, you can change how it looks, or what like we have done, we can link it to that directional light, which is the sun-like object that we put in, and then you can point that to whichever way that you kind of want to then. So if I just did this, and you can see this is the sun pointing in different ways. Let's just get it quite low in that way. That, and at the moment the sun color and the sun location doesn't change, but if we go to our sky sphere that I told you about, you can refresh the texture and it will put the sun wherever the angle is and change the colors based on that. And now you can see that we're getting the light, the shadows coming in this way, and if we build, voila. You know, if you make the directional light movable, then you don't have to bake light and get better shadows during. Now that's interesting. So it basically gives you a more realistic view of it, is it? A directional light, if we put it as movable, and then it means what? If we change it, it gives us more realistic.
Doesn't give you better shadows. If you have a higher resolution in your light baking, it definitely will be better than your real-time directional lights.
Yeah, so I guess maybe if it's to get rid of the rebuilding kind of thing. You mean, is it?
Yeah, by better maybe flow in terms of flow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, sweet. Well, and that pretty much concludes what we're doing. We're then going to go on to play some LD games today. Huzzah! So I am going to just finish off this very quickly. I want to rebuild my. I'm going to take that down a little bit. I'm happy with those settings. The sky sphere. Refresh it. It's nice and orange. The sun's maybe a bit low actually. That's it. Just get this a bit more. Let's refresh that again. Oh no, it's so high. It doesn't matter. And then did we add skylight? How much indirect? Yeah, we got quite a lot of indirect light in at the moment. So let's maybe take that down a touch as well. And we will rebuild. I made tic-tac-toe in Godot with random AI and a tiny bit of help from tutorial. Good job, Tormod. Well, I am pleased to hear.
Let's see if your AI will beat Dan's AI.
Never.
Play on traps and tic-tac-toe.
Okay, so I'm just gonna maybe just try and get a screenshot from today. What we've been working with. I mean, I've got one of those. We can sneak one of these into the screenshot, even if it's not in the right place. See that we have added it. It's the sun. Oh, damn you, sun. We will be starting soon. Good and diary. Yeah, that's the one. Refresh.
Rebuild?
Yeah.
Use the shortcut.
Control Shift semicolon. Go get rid of this tank. Fantastic. Scene picture. Something else. Should probably make it smaller for the sake. Rooney.
Right, I'm jumping out of the chat then.
Okay, dude. Free to get involved with the playing in the games if you want to pop in or something later. Just give me a message, mate.
Cool. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your time.
You too.
Now we got this. I can just save this as our little progress picture for my monthly game dev challenge. I'll do a tweet about that a little later. Setting up world lighting was really what we got through today. You guys heard an update when UE5 is scheduled to release? No, I've not heard anything. I don't really keep up to date actually. I don't like check when things are happening, so I'm not the best person to ask about that. But okay, let's save this.